How do you create your life doing nothing and how I manage my anxiety? Let me show you what I did last night, and this is an actual part of my creative process. Nothing. I just did nothing. I stared at my walls, petted Mr. Ori, and I did some serious thinking. Usually this is where my best ideas come from. There's a saying that goes, creative people sometimes needs to sit down and do nothing. And for me, this is the hardest thing to do. I just need to move all the time. I just need to create all the time. But I don't think this just applies to creative people or artists. I believe this applies to everybody. Any circumstances. You know when your head gets so full, like it feels like there's no more room in there. You feel like you're gonna explode. We usually reach out for our phone to look at social media, we watch a movie, a podcast, to numb or avoid our thoughts about life, work, all the things that go through in our lives. By postponing it, well, you're just gonna create more anxiety, more stress on you and your body. I think we forgot what good comes from when we stare at the wall sometimes. And postponing thinking about what we should be thinking of, it's not a really healthy way to go through life. Because when you sit down and do nothing, you might be actually much more productive than you think you could be. And those moments, well, let's face it could help you out figure out shit you need to. I know it sounds super counterintuitive to be more productive while doing nothing, and I've struggled with that for most of my life. I still struggle with that. Hell, I don't even sit down to eat because I feel it's a waste of time. But being exhausted mentally is as bad as being exhausted physically. It's just that I think the mental exhaustion kind of sneaks up on us. We don't really realize when it's creeping up, and it's important to take time to think, just to clear your head and reorganize your thoughts. And when I sit down to stare at a wall and just think, usually what happens is all the ideas kind of bang into each other, and it's kind of impossible to focus on one thought. But I let it run wild. I don't try to control any thoughts. And after a little while, thoughts kind of clears out. Then the real thinking begin. I start to have good ideas for my paintings, videos. I start to have good ideas about maybe a problem I had. But most of all, I start managing my anxiety about my life. See behind me? There's a blank canvas right there. I still have no clue what I'm gonna do with it. See, how can you imagine new things if you don't take time to? This is straight, first shot. Wow. So we mostly all live a very fast-paced life. And you're probably thinking to yourself, I don't have time to stop and stare at a wall and start thinking, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Hear me out. I made the realization in the past year that life, or the universe, whatever you want to call it, has always given me the time to do anything I wanted to do and time to think. But you have to figure out and you have to see that this time is giving to you. Whether in the doctor's waiting room, in a lineup, downtime at work. We do have that time, but most of the time what we do instead of staring at a wall and thinking, we just whip out our phone. And downtime at work for me used to be horrible for my anxiety. And I would just start stressing about my life, that I do the right choices, and just pure anxiety and stress would overwhelm me. And you know exactly what I'm talking about if you're self-employed, an artist, or you got your hours cut off at work. I remember how I used to see my downtime, because in tattooing, we always have that every year through the winter, maybe 2-3 months. Every time my friends would tell me, Jonathan, you always complain about this every year and everything end up to be okay. But I was so preoccupied with being stressed and being anxious about the situation that I wasn't even realizing that as a matter of fact was true. Every year around the same time, I would complain about the same thing and have the same anxiety. And this is actually the first year when I still do have this downtime as we speak right now, but I use this time to think and create new things. And I feel my anxiety about that, I still have some. I don't think it'll ever go away, but I'm able to actually look through the anxiety, see that everything's gonna be fine, and I just create new things. Whether you want to see it that way or not, that's completely up to you. But now I see my downtime as an opportunity to create something new, to think, to evolve, to have control over my anxiety. And also, let's be honest, how many times have you told yourself, oh, if I had time to do this, then I would. If I had time to do that, I would do that. Also, how do you want to create something new or birth new ideas if you don't have the time to do it? Or if you take that time and stress over that you don't have no more time. Yeah, I got lost there. That doesn't work. And how do you want to create something new and birth new ideas if you're always too busy to actually fit them in your schedule, or too busy stressing about you having downtime instead of using that downtime to make that happen? I think that's the reason why people stay in crappy relationships or crappy job. Because you see, if you're too busy hating the predicament you find yourself in, and you have a busy life on top of that, it makes sense that you can't see a way out, that you don't have time to stop and think. You need to think of a plan. And in order to do that in a busy life, you have to see the moments that are given to you. I'm as good as procrastinating as I'm good of being productive. However, the line is very fine between procrastinating and doing things, because thinking of doing, it's not doing. So if you always think about it and not doing anything, then it's procrastination. However, in order to do that thing you want to do, you need to take time to think about when, what, where, and how of doing that thing. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching my video. I immensely appreciate you for you to listen to my thoughts as I trying to figure out my life and share the process in the meantime. If you like this video, you're probably gonna like some of these, so go check them out, like, subscribe, do all good stuff, and I'll speak to you very soon. Bye-bye.